COSATU was set to hold its 14th National Elective Congress in Midrand, Johannesburg from today until Thursday. Thousands of members of unions that are affiliated to the Labour Federation are expected to attend the Elective Congress, which will deliberate issues including the state of organised labour. Leaders of ANC and the SACP will address the gathering, which will also see the election of a new COSATU leadership. SABC News reporter Katlego Legodi joins us live now at the Congress. Katlego, good morning to you. Talk to us about the turnout that you're seeing so far.
A very good morning to you, Naledi, and to our viewers at home. It's a hive of activity here at the Katlego Convention Center. This is day one of COSATU's 14th National Congress that has seen about thousands of members already here chanting their in song. They are more or less looking forward to kickstart the program of the day that is expected to get underway at about 10 o'clock. I'm going to ask my colleagues here to just give you a pan of what is happening besides us and just give you a sense of the delegates that are here from 9 provinces gathered from all walks and breadths of the country. COSATU delegates from those affiliated unions to the federation. We know very well that COSATU has about 1.5 million supporters or members. Most of them would be represented here by delegates. We are told that about 2,000 delegates are here and they'll form part of those proceedings that kick off this morning. This is where we're going to be seeing the chairperson, Mike take over as he's leading the program here today. We're expecting, of course, various issues to come under the spotlight here. This including the political report that is coming out of COSATU. This is where also we'll be seeing the office bearers of COSATU just more or less making their final statements. As you can imagine, that this is one Congress that will also culminate in the voting in of a new COSATU leadership. Most of them have been rallying to ensure that the numbers tally so that those that are here are able to vote and represent their members from 9 provinces in terms of the new leadership that will be formed here. I'm going to bring into the conversation now one delegate who's here, who just let us in on what they're doing here. And really, are you excited, sir, to be here? It's day one today of the Congress, and we see you're clad in COSATU regalia and you're ready to engage. Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you. Welcome.
We are here. It's day one. What are you expecting to get out of this conference? Are we seeing that your members have already gathered here in their numbers, and you guys are looking forward to kickstart that program? What can you really say you're looking forward to where this Congress is concerned?
The collective bargaining is under siege, and coming out of this Congress, we expect very strong resolutions that will release workers from this oppression by the government of the day, in reneging first from the side agreement, but not also closing down the space of collective bargaining.
We know very well, sir, that more or less the state of organized labor in the country has really been more or less one that has faced challenges in terms of unions and people more or less that are on the ground losing faith, more or less, if you look at it, in the role of unions. Would you say that this Congress here today will also see the legitimacy of unions in fighting for the workers and the challenges experienced by workers on the ground are being discussed here? And is this something that you're also looking forward to, the state of organized labor as we're talking about it right now?
Unions remains resolute and they remain relevant despite the challenges that are presenting themselves to over. Well, the world over is facing the same challenge. The challenges we are facing here are faced by workers across the globe. But then as workers, we remain resolute, and that ours is a struggle moving forward. There's nothing that we expect to get from on the silver platter. We will fight for what is due for us, and we'll continue to be resolute in ensuring that we remain relevant and members continue to be protected at the workplace. The bourgeois is continuously butchering workers, but it's for us as organized labor to ensure that we defend workers at all times.
And we know very well that the issue of load shedding and ESCOM, what has been happening there at the state-owned entity, is expected to also form part of the negotiations, the most part of discussions here in the 4 days. What have the workers been saying about what is happening around the issue of load shedding and ESCOM?
Load shedding continues to be a nuisance on the lives of ordinary people of this country. We have seen ESCOM wanting to increase the cost of electricity by almost 32%, whilst we don't have electricity at all. This stop and go kind of arrangement is also having a negative impact on the workers due to their incomes. When there's no electricity, some industries stop. But we know the owners of all these businesses will not pay workers when there was no electricity. That's to put workers on a short time, which we'll reject at all times.
Mr. Katlego, thank you very much, sir, for your time. Mr. Katlego is a delegate there from COSATU. The delegates are in song. They're in high spirits, looking forward to kickstarting day one of the 14th Congress. This is where we'll also be seeing the ANC today making a statement. There'll also be supporting messages coming from various sectors. You can imagine that COSATU is forming part of the Tripartite Alliance, and the state of the Tripartite Alliance and their relationship will also come under the spotlight here today. Naledi?
Katlego, tell me this. We know that the Congress will also see COSATU really electing new leadership. Let's talk about who's likely to lead in that race.
Well, more or less what we've been looking at coming out of the weekend in terms of the bargaining that has been happening by those that are in the leadership of COSATU. It's looking good for President Zingis, where more or less a whole lot of branches and delegates have nominated her to come back into the leadership. But you know very well, and lady, that it's more or less of a voting process and things can really change. So we're waiting to see how that leadership that is outgoing would be retained. Some of those are set to be retained and some of them are set to be moved, and then we'll see a new leadership coming forward. But this is something that we're expecting to see. We're waiting with bated breath to see how this would take shape. You know very well that there was excitement in the nomination and the election of Zingis as the first female to really lead this federation, this gigantic federation, and most of the people saying that she's fared well in terms of the leadership and steering COSATU to where it is today, and most of them will be waiting to see if she will retain that position of a president. But yeah, that is just a waiting game in terms of the delegates that are here. We have over 2,000 delegates that are expected to come through here, and most of them will be embarking in that voting process that will ensure that a new leadership is elected out of the 4 days that this conference would sit.
Yeah, and just one last question, Katlego, before I let you go. We know that the SACP and the ANC as alliance partners to COSATU will be addressing the Congress. Have we seen the arrivals of any of the leadership of that alliance? Any prominent figures that you've seen in attendance?
I mean, it's still early days in terms of just seeing the picture of those that are here. Mostly this morning it has been about delegates just fetching their accreditations. I heard from the COSATU leadership that they are working on the credentials of those that are here today. But we're expecting that as the day progresses, we'll get a sense and a picture of who is set to come here. But we know very well that President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to be a delegate, a leader from the African National Congress, who would come through here and give a message of support and an address more or less in a way that would see their contribution here on the ground. The SACP as well, you can imagine that they are forming part of that Tripartite Alliance. So we'll be expecting that they also come through here to offer some sort of a message of support. And this is also where in a lady we'll be seeing the delegates gathered here take stock of this relationship, this alliance between the ANC, the SACP, and also COSATU, because you can imagine that it was just last month in August, towards the end of August, whereby we saw COSATU leading a march, a shutdown march to the union buildings. Them really not taking kind to what is happening in terms of the governance of the day. So most of them, and you know very well that even in the past, COSATU has threatened to pull out of the Tripartite Alliance. So it really would be interesting to see how that formation, that Tripartite Alliance, the formation would take shape in terms of this Congress here on the ground. But surely we're expecting the SACP and the ANC to feature at this Congress.